Hello everybody, this is Dumpster Cat. Welcome back to the Tireless testing series. In this one we're going to be up against Rakdos Midrange, which is very popular in the format, obviously, if not the most popular deck and or the most powerful deck alongside Mono Green Devotion. And always with the Rakdos Midrange conversation comes the question of why play Golgari instead of Rakdos, and the answer to that question is quite complex, I believe. If you want to be winning, just play Rakdos. However, that's not really what this channel is about. It's just about furthering the exploration of the VGX archetype in Pioneer because I love it so much, as do, I'm sure, many of you and many other people. And so, nonetheless, we do have to be prepared for the Rakdos Midrange matchup just because it is so prevalent in the meta right now and probably for the future as it stands. Just quickly going over this build, we're going to be playing pack leaders for this run. I do probably believe that pack leader is a bit more well positioned than Grimflare right now, just because Liliana is, I believe, falling out of favor just a bit. I would always play Grimflare alongside Liliana. However, pack leader just plays well alongside creatures, and Liliana obviously is not a creature, and so we want to be playing other cards in her slot, such as Graveyard Trespasser. You're going to be playing the full 4, which I believe to be pretty good in the meta, especially against, obviously, Rakdos in any graveyard-centric deck. Pack Leader also works very well alongside Tracker and Ranger class. And additionally, Underdog. Basically, just any other 3 power creature is going to work well against, or work well alongside Pack Leader. Course of Crucifix is a bit of an interesting include. Basically, this is just like a flex slot that I was kind of considering. Other people have been playing Shieldred or other big, 4 or 5 drop slots. Shieldred is really expensive right now, and so I don't really have the money to buy him. So just playing this Courser, I think Courser is actually very nice right now, especially where Pioneer is very centered around combat. There are a plethora of different aggressive decks that Courser is very well oriented around, and she's just really good against mid-range in general, and so that's why I like her. Playing one of Malakir Rebirth, I'm not really sure how good this card is. I don't really like it too much, but I just wanted to try it out because KO was doing it. Sideboard is pretty interesting. Trying out the Bankbusters. 2 Terra Sunder is a bit sketchy in my opinion, but really want to just further testing this card, and then the one of Liliana, just to kind of, because we're not playing in the main deck, I want to see how she plays out in the sideboard, if she's relevant at all. So with that being said, hope you enjoyed the video, hope you're able to learn something, and hopefully I could provide a didactic form of entertainment for you. And if you like this form of content, consider subscribing and liking the video. It really helps me out a lot. Thank you. Alright, so we're here for game 1 with a keepable hand, obviously a bit on the sketchy side as we don't have the 3rd land, but obviously nice having a variety of creatures and interaction, so we're definitely going to keep this one. Just going to let this play out. Obviously going to lead on the Quagmire, and we see a Den of the Bugbear, so with that opening, obviously Rakdos is going to be the most prevalent. However, there is mono red aggro and other just mono or just red decks in general, as Den just slots in really nicely into any red deck, as you could imagine. So turn 2, we do have the choice of playing Underdog, Pack Leader, or Scooz. I go for the Pack Leader just as the strongest card that we could play and run out. Hindsight 2020, knowing we're against Rakdos, Underdog could have been the more correct decision to play, as it is more resilient to removal. However, I like to get the Pack Leader out because it gets around Play with Fire, which I thought that the opponent could have been on if they're playing mono red, and gets around Stomp as well. So just going to run out the Pack Leader. And the opponent will play the Black Source and Dreadbore, so now we know we're definitely against Rakdos. Turn 3 here, we unfortunately did not draw the 3rd land, so we just have to play out the Underdog and see if they will the Mirror Breaker. So we're pretty far behind at this point, especially with not drawing the 3rd land on our turn 4. So So now we're kind of in a tough situation. Do we Fatal Push the Shaman token, or do we just decay the Shaman token, or even the Fable, or play the creature? I opt for going for, I believe, to be the highest upside play of just decaying the Fable and then blocking the, or holding up the underdog to block the Shaman token. Just kind of trying to like stabilize from here on out. However, on this next turn, we do see that the opponent gets a pretty good sequencing of being able to attack. I guess Fatal Push the underdog, attack, and then play out a Trespasser, which is pretty impactful. And even on turn 5, we do not draw the 5th land, so we're just having to pass the turn here, holding up decay for the Glutton, which does cleanly answer it. However, the opponent just does have a Harvester and another Fable, and then on our turn 6 we don't have the 3rd land, and so we just concede. And so sideboarding for the Rakdos Midrange matchup is pretty straightforward. We do want to bring in the Liliana, as I believe she kind of fits the plan of being resource denial. She's a bit iffy in the sense that you can make the argument that Rakdos just has better top decks than us, and so you don't want to bring her in. However, I did want to try her out in the matchup, so I thought that she would be fitting nonetheless. And then we do want to bring in the Bankbusters, and I do think that Terror Sunder is a valid include in this matchup. Works well against Fable especially, and then any other form of artifact such as like main deck Reckoner Bankbuster, Unlicensed Hearse, or even just like sideboard Bankbuster as well from the opponent. And then taking things out, pretty easily just take out the 4th Thoughtseize. I believe that Thoughtseize is just, you know, resource neutral card and doesn't really impact the board, doesn't give us any card advantage, and so typically just in the mid-range matchups you want to be taking out Thoughtseize, just as a rule of thumb as a mid-range player. And then we have an interesting choice of, you know, what the last card we want to take out to be is. Could take out a Decay, but I really like Decay against Trespasser, and Rakdos has a lot of 3 CMC cards that we want to get rid of pretty quickly. Could make the argument for taking out the 4th Fatal Push, possibly a Scavenging Ooze. However, I just opt to take out the 4th Assassin's Trophy, just because, you know, we already have so much removal in general. We know we're going to be trading in combat as well, so removal spells aren't too impactful, especially knowing that we are bringing in the Liliana and the Terror Sunders. And additionally, Assassin's Trophy, allowing the opponents to find a basic land is a bit more worse for us, just in the mid-range matchup especially, just because they're able to utilize that land a lot more effectively than any other deck, such as say like a control deck or an aggressive deck. And so don't like Assassin's Trophy too much in the mid-range matchup. Against Rakdos, you know, it's okay, but if you were to play against a 3-color deck, then I would definitely recommend sideboarding Trophy out more aggressively. And so we're here for game 2 on the play, because we lost game 1 with a keepable hand, 2 lands again, which is a little iffy, but we are going to keep this hand just because we do have nice interaction, of course, and then the nice creatures. And we just lead them on a Deathcap Glade pretty easily. The opponent does keep in the Thoughtseize, which is really interesting to me. I obviously, like I just said, I'm an avid believer of cutting Thoughtseize in the mid-range matchups. However, they are able to effectively take out our pack leader, but we're just able to run out the Scoos here. And we did draw the 3rd land, which is very nice. So, pretty easily here we just have the choice of going with attacking with Scoos and then playing out the tracker, while the opponent is able to get a Trespasser, but again, we just have the clean answer for it in the form of Decay, and then we're able to eat the Trespasser with Scoos, attack for a nice 7. The opponent is already down to 10. They do have another Trespasser, which is pretty relevant, but as you can see here, we have drawn all 4 Fatal Pushes, and so we definitely don't feel bad about just cracking the clue here, getting Revolt for Fatal Push, and then killing the Trespasser, utilizing 2 Fatal Pushes. And we do see that we drew a the second tracker, which is going to be just very nice as well. So here the we had them at 5. We were definitely in the pilot seat, the driver's seat. However, they do land a shield dread on turn 5, and so that is a bit problematic, especially considering at the moment we do not have any way of killing it. We do have the fatal pushes, but no way of getting revolt. And so here we are just priced into playing out the second tracker, which is definitely not the worst play in this sort of matchup, but really just wanted to pressure the opponent. In mid-range matchups, especially with Rakdos, a lot of games will just end up being aggressive, or just wanting to be aggressive, especially in this build where we're not playing Lilianas and we're playing more creatures. Notably flexing the pack leaders as the best creature we have in this matchup. I guess alongside tracker, we just really want to be aggressive, and so not being able to kill the shield dread there was a bit problematic, especially with them being able to gain life now. Now we drew the Bankbuster, which is pretty decent. However, like, not drawing the 4th land is a bit problematic as well, and so I think just here going with Crack the Clue token, possibly hitting a land, but mainly just getting a revolt for fatal push to get the shield dread out of the way is the line we take. It obviously does shrink our trackers, but we just have to go in there nonetheless. We do attack with all as well. I think that's probably correct, just pressuring the opponent. We do have to trade Scoos for Harvester there, which is not the best trade in my opinion, but I think now, well, the opponent is only on 4 lands, and we have the board presence, even after trading after blocks, just going in there is probably the correct decision. So the opponent just has a Harvester in the 5th land, so definitely not anything to worry about. Here we're able to just push the Harvester and then play the Bankbuster after attacks. They have a removal spell, which is fine, just kind of prolonging the game just a bit, but we are still in the driver's seat, which is nice, especially with the Bankbuster play. Shield Dread would have been pretty problematic if we didn't have the trophy, but thankfully we do have the trophy, and so we're able to just answer it very cleanly. They draw a card in response, which is fine. Discarding a Blood Tithe Harvester, which is pretty interesting, just kind of shows how desperate they are, because Harvester is a very good card in the matchup. And then we're just able to attack. And then I was thinking about activating Bankbuster to try to hit our land drop for the turn, but I think just leaving a Decay was probably just the better line, especially considering that if we played Trespasser on the next turn, we would have lethal, even with a blocker, because they would be at 2 with the Trespasser trigger, and then we would be able to crew the Bankbuster with the Trespasser, and so we'd be attacking with for 6 damage, even after blocks, get them down to 0. So they had Fable and Misery's Shadow, which is a new card, pretty good in the matchup as well. We're able to just decay the Shadow, and then here we're able to do what I just outlined, play out the Trespasser, and then they see the line of draining them for 1, and then crewing the Bankbuster and attacking for lethal. So for game 3, we did not make any sideboard changes, just ran it back with the 4 Thoughtseizes out plus the trophy out, the 4th trophy out. And we have this hand, which we definitely have to mulligan. You know, there is some consideration to keeping it, just because we know that they did keep in Thoughtseize post-board, and so, you know, we're more inclined to keep a 7-card hand, but this just doesn't do enough. If this Ranger class was perhaps a pack leader, then it would have been different, but we do have to mulligan. And we're left with not the best hand. We do have to keep, because going down to 5, it's just not very feasible against the Rakdos matchup, so we do have to keep this and then ship back the Llanowar Wastes. Thankfully they didn't have a Thoughtseize. You know, as I said, in my opinion, leaving Thoughtseize in is not good against mid-range. However, if they did have a Thoughtseize there, taking the tracker would have been very, very problematic for us. I'm so glad they didn't have it there. They do have a Bank Buster. However, the Terra Sunders we did bring in are going to be very, very nice here. Just cleanly taking that out. I do believe that just running out the Terra Sunder instead of the pack leader we drew is probably the better decision. Just negating any value is going to be just what we want to do in this matchup, just prolonging the game. And at least how this game is playing out so far, just prolong the game. We don't have any sort of form of aggression that we are able to get over the opponent just now, so that's the line we want to be taking, and obviously want to be doing Terra Sunder over a Decay as just the more efficient spell, as Decay can hit obviously creatures as well. So they just have a Harvester, and notably did not hit their third land, which is obviously going to be very nice for us. So we're just able to cleanly run out the tracker. I would have, if Rakdos Midrange played Liliana, I perhaps would have played out the Ranger class instead, but knowing that they do not play Liliana anymore, like us, I suppose, we're just going to play out the tracker. And we did draw our sideboard Liliana, which could have been a really, really nice play of getting out the Harvester and then just leaving out the tracker plus Liliana on 1 loyalty. However, I thought that although that would have been a really nice play, just going Decay into pack leader here is probably just a bit better. Just getting pack leader out is really, really crucial for us, because if we were able to swing even once with the trigger on the stack, then we're just really, really insured for the game. And so I think just going with that line is a bit better than going with Liliana, unfortunately, because obviously playing out Liliana is very nice for us, or just really cool in my opinion. They do have a removal spell for pack leader and hit their third land drop finally. However, we did draw the Trespasser, which is nice, but we just opt to play out the Ranger class and level it up once, just because it uses our mana the most efficiently and offers some late game inevitability with the level 3 if we choose to go out there or go down that route. So we just go to attacks here. The +1/+1 counter decision is a bit interesting here. I wanted to play around just a more generalized removal spell, like a Power Word Kill, instead of playing around Stomp, because it is pretty clear that they're holding up mana for removal here. However, so that's why I put the counter on the token instead of the tracker. However, unfortunately for us, they did have the Stomp instead of the just general removal spell, and so we are a bit punished, but still feeling just very, very good in this matchup, and just in this position in general. And so we're just even able to put on more aggression here with the Trespasser play. Unfortunately, Liliana not being too good here, but just having her in the back burner as just kind of a last case card is very nice to have. And they're able to go Harvester to just pass the turn. We're able to Fatal Push. You could have made the argument of playing the Liliana Edict being there, but I just wanted to be efficient with my mana. Although it is very sad that we did not get to play out the Liliana in this match. And here we're just able to attack for lethal, put the counter on the Trespasser, get the Drain trigger, and we win. So a really, really nice turn of events there for us. I believe in this league, this was the 5th match, and I was playing for 3 and 2, so I really wanted to win this match. And so thankfully we got there with a really nice kind of interactive format there. Definitely we struggled to gain lands game 1, and they struggled game 2, or game 3 rather. But game 2 was very interactive, and they did have some game to an extent here, possibly if they had kept this extinction event or drawn another one later on, then it would have been very good against this board state, or had a bit more interaction against us. They could have turned the tides a bit, but just feeling very, very good in this position and in this matchup in general. And so, hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you were able to learn something in taking on the Rakdos Midrange matchup as a BGX midrange player. as it is such a popular deck, and just being able to know how to deconstruct the various progressions the matchup can take is very important for us mid-range players of the black and green variant. So hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know if you would have taken any different lines than I did take. Let me know your thoughts on the deck list. Let me know your thoughts about no main deck Lilianas and just the one Liliana in the sideboard. Felt very nice with this build. As I stated, I went 3-2 in the league with this, so feeling very nice just off the bat, and so going to be testing with this going further down the line. With that being said, hope you enjoyed the video. Consider subscribing if you're a fan of this content, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.